It's a beautiful night on Long Island to crown a champion, and tonight we'll do that in the CAA 2024 Men's Soccer Championship. Will it be the Heartbreak Kids from UNCW already upending two of the top seeds in this tournament, or will the pride of Hofstra University come away with their fourth consecutive title? Hi everybody, alongside Tom Birdie, I'm Dan Savarino. We appreciate you joining us this evening from Captain's Field at Hofstra University. Tom, it's really kind of interesting, right? We always talk David versus Goliath. That's what you see on paper with the 6 and the 4 seed, but not the case in CAA soccer this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, this is a conference that has been very strong top to bottom. 6 or 7 teams right around that top 100 mark in the RPI this season. So really, a lot of teams have beaten other teams. UNCW knocking off Drexel and Monmouth each twice this year. And for Hofstra, one of the highest RPI seeds all year long. And they still found themselves only as the 4 seed heading into this tournament with a little bit of something to prove.
Well, the Seahawks coming in as the number 6 seed. They got in on the very last day of the season. They needed some help, but someone who has really helped on the back end for the last 3 years is Jake Shannon.
Yeah, Jake Shannon has really brought stability to the back line for this team. A 3-time All-CAA selection. He started every possible match of his career, and the coaches tell us he's barely missed a minute. And you really can't say enough about what that can do. He's been a rock in the back line. He's great in the air, someone that is certainly going to have a tough job today against a talented Hofstra attack.
Hofstra's head coach Richie Nuttall seems to find them everywhere, and this time it's Laurie Goddard. They find him from Stonehill. He comes in here, and boy, he has been special.
Yeah, he's outstanding. I mean, Goddard is a guy who, when you look at what he's done just in the last few games, 7 goals, 2 assists in his last 8 matches. He is heating up at the right time of year. He's so good, kind of plays as that second forward off of Jacob Woznicki, and really is a threat to watch. He's good in the air. He can finish inside the box as a little bit of a poacher, but really a standout player to watch for Hofstra.
So that's where we are. It's UNCW. Will they win their first title in 15 years? Will the Pride win their 4th consecutive title and 8th overall in the conference? We'll be back. Starting lineup and the first kick of the ball only on FloFC. The CAA Men's Soccer Championship is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above. Packed house here at Captain's Field on the campus of Hofstra University. We take a look at the UNCW Seahawks starting lineup. 6, 8, and 5 overall, 4 and 4 inside of the conference. You see there with Hefile working on a defensive end, a transfer who came in from St. Leo, 3rd team selection this season. Osei Jamfi, that's the other person you really got to keep an eye on with 9 points so far this season. That leads all scorers. And then Jack Clarkson, 6th in the conference in assist overall. The Hofstra starting 11, and they get somebody back that's oh so important for them. It's Owen Farrell, number 16, their center midfielder, a big addition who has missed the CAA championship contests. But Dodone in goal with Pacheco Barnett, and get 2 guys there who are actually starting their 5th CAA championship final, which is remarkable to think. Rock Carlos and Pearson Fuso playing in their 5th consecutive final. In between the pipes for the Seahawks, it's the redshirt freshman for this already very young starting 11, Trey Smiley. Out of Lyndon, Washington, born in British Columbia, he has taken the starting spot over the last 9 games, 10 consecutive starts now for the youngster. He's been great so far, Tom.
Yeah, and Coach Aiden Heaney, super, complimentary about Smiley. Said he's a great shot stopper. They're comfortable playing back to his feet. Really good demeanor back there in goal. And yeah, he's really won this job over the course of the season. They feel very confident with him between the sticks.
And when you look at the other side for the Pride, when you replace someone like Wessel Spiels, a 3-year starter, that could be tough. But Filippo Dodone, the Italian, has been superb. 13-4-2 record. And he really has just been really, really good all season long with what he's been able to do.
Yeah, and again, with a guy like Spiel, you understand why Dodone had to wait and, buy his time until he could become the starter this year. But he's been outstanding so far. 19 starts, part of 9 shutouts for this Hofstra Pride team, which seems to love shutting out teams here at home. 6 of those shutouts here at Captain's Field. So Dodone, I'm sure, will be looking forward with his back line to trying to keep another one here tonight.
The Pride, for the 4th consecutive year, lead the conference to say in scoring, 18th nationally. The Seahawks are towards the bottom of that standing, 11 of the 12 teams, but it doesn't matter. They get wins when it matters the most. That's what this group is. That's made up of just 4 upperclassmen in their starting lineup tonight. The Seahawks wear the checkered jerseys with blue, white numbers. They'll go from right to left on your screens here in this first half. The Pride in their classic home whites. And for the 3rd consecutive year here at Hofstra University, we have a CAA championship. We're underway. Thanks so much for joining us this Saturday evening. Or it's these first couple of minutes, Tom, that's always the part where you want to see that feeling out process. Last week you played 2 games in just 3 days. This is a little bit different where you have that week off.
Yeah, both teams should be coming in rested. I'm sure they've had a lot of time to prep for the other team. They've worked on the scouts and, made sure to put in certain points of emphasis of what they want to do this evening. And, I think coaches will always talk about it. First 5 minutes and last 5 minutes of a half, you can sometimes be vulnerable. Maybe you're not all the way switched on. So both teams will, I'm sure, look to get through this first opening 5 minutes.
These 2 teams are coached by 2 of the longer tenured coaches in the conference. Aiden Heaney, 26th year. Richard Nuttall in his 35th. Teddy Baker, far side, will have the toss in. Well, that's the person that Heaney brought up the most and what he's able to do, but he also wasn't sure if Owen Farrell would be playing and what he has been able to do for the Pride over the last 2 years.
Yes, a standout sort of defensive midfielder, does great work shielding the back 4, and now we'll get a chance to look at his long throw, which has become a weapon for Hofstra.
3rd team selection in the conference. It's headed on, and we will get our very first corner.
And again, that kind of shows you the advantage of that long throw, right? It turns what for most teams is just something you play short towards the corner flag, maybe as almost more like a set-piece delivery. Teams have to defend it in the box, and it leads to the opening corner.
You'll just have to watch for the shot here with Teddy Baker. Olympico's double overtime goal against the College of Charleston. That's what pushed them ahead to the semifinals. Here he sends one right towards goal, and Smiley's up there to jump on up and snag it in.
Yeah, and I'm sure Smiley watched that clip about 100 times to make sure he was prepared for any possible Olympico attempt from Baker tonight. But yeah, I mean, Coach Heaney basically told us one of his keys to the game for his team was we have to defend those Teddy Baker set pieces really well. And Coach Nuttall also super complimentary about Baker and his ability to whip in that good service.
Infuso angles it to Pacheco on the left side. They've kind of worked more towards a back 3 this season from the 4 that we've seen, but really just so versatile and so fluid are the pieces for the Hofstra Pride year in and year out. That's kind of the style Coach Nuttall likes to play.
Yeah, and he told us when we had a chance to chat with him earlier this week that he thinks his team could go 3, 4, or 5 at any point.
Service up ahead looking for Goddard, and it is sent aside. Farrell there to flag it down in midfield. Well, he's dangerous when those 2 are there. Goddard and Woznicki.
And not a very high press so far for UNCW, so they seem comfortable letting Hofstra have it amongst their 3 center backs, and I'm sure those center backs are going to work on progressing that ball in towards midfield because right now, again, not getting much pressure.
Baker, long service to the top of the box to flex out. Here's Rock Carlos, the phenomenal number 10 for the Pride. Playing in his 5th consecutive finals, starting in his last 4.
Yeah, he's a real engine in that midfield. He does a lot of the dirty work, kind of plays as a number 8 type of player, good on the tackle, super quick, reads the play well, and is a good job shuttling the ball through the midfield, getting it up to those good attacking players.
Something really which I just find remarkable, especially what Hofstra has done the last number of years, Tom. This is UNCW's 28th appearance, right, in the conference tournament, 28 years overall. But when you start adding up the amount of games, obviously different. Rock Carlos is playing in his 13th CAA championship game. 13th. So is Pearson Fuso.
Yeah, and it's just, again, kind of goes to show you how much this team has progressed in the last few years from not just a team that wants to compete in the CAA, but a team that has now had, reaching the NCAA third round and things like that. So they have certainly reached, I think, a different level under Coach Richard Nuttall in the last couple of seasons.
Carlos settles it down. Owen Barnett, who was injured last year, of course, itching to get back out there for a star-studded team that won a CAA championship, and nicely played by the Seahawks as they take it from the far touchline.
And early on, really, again, haven't seen too much possession so far from UNCW. They come out in that 4-2-3-1. They've got those 2 holders back there, Clarkson and Hornada. And then ahead of them, they got 3 guys who can really play the ball well in midfield, led by Osei Jamfi, who we said the team leader in points, very good close control, good speed, operates in the center.
Into the box and steered aside. Newsome, good defensive play, clears it out.
And I think, sorry to cut you off, Dan, I was going to say, I think at some point, really, if you're UNCW, I know it's still very early in this contest, just over 5 minutes in here, you're going to obviously need at some point to get a little bit more on the ball. Weather this early storm, but at some point you're going to have to hold on to it a bit more. I think every time they send it right back down to Hofstra, it's just another chance for them to build with possession and try to launch something towards the UNCW end.
Farrell steered aside. Ifile the other way, and back and forth we go. It will be the Seahawks with the toss-in, and Martin Rivera, who now starts his 12th consecutive game.
And Coach Heaney, very complimentary of Rivera, a guy who he said came in as really like a center midfielder, maybe an attacking mid, and they've converted now to right back, but they love the offensive style he can bring, gets high up the field, pushing up on that right-hand side from right back.
And this is a young group for the Seahawks overall in terms of their lineup, but it kind of does remind me of a couple of years ago during a championship game we were doing here. Elon was a younger team, and then that's the dominance the next couple of years, getting themselves to the finals 2 years ago, #1 seed again. This past year, it's just really remarkable to see how good this league continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they lost, 8 players who had 9 or more starts last season. That's what UNCW lost. So Coach Heaney basically told us when we first played Hofstra, I mean, we had a young team. We were still figuring it out, trying to get the right guys on the field, get some of our young players to come out of their shells. So he thinks they are a very, very different team than they were in that meeting earlier this season.
Yeah, 3-0 win for Hofstra back in September. Feels like such a long time ago. Hall, Barnett across the conference logo, as Jamfi tries to put some pressure on. Ornson to Pacheco. NAIA national champion 2 years ago and had a real nice role with this team last season, starting 12 of 21. Started all but 1 this year. Service into the box and takes 1 bounce. Cleared aside to the near side of the pitch. And it'll be another good position for a toss for the Pride.
I thought Richard Nuttall gave a great analogy to us on the phone, and that was that Woznicki is kind of the battering ram, and then after he knocks the door down, that's when sort of Goddard can come in. So when you see those long balls up top towards Woznicki, he does a great job occupying those defenders, can knock it down, and then play it for a guy like Goddard to run onto.
Farrell into the area, gets it right back, settles. Barnett to the near corner. Back to Farrell. Some room here. And it's denied. Goes off the end line. It is our second corner kick upcoming.
And again, another chance to see the set piece delivery from Teddy Baker. And we had a chance to see it down on the field in warm-ups. We were watching as he was taking some of those practice corners, and he can really put in a good ball, dangerous area. This one maybe an outswinger coming from this right side.
9th minute of play with the right foot, goes across. Barnett is there, 20 yards out. Settled back, here's Baker. Baker to the left post, steered aside again by the Seahawks defense. Pride still control as it's really been tilted for the first 6 minutes of this contest. And misplayed by the always steady Jack Clarkson. And the Pride with another good chance here deep.
Yeah, Clarkson plays on the left side of that double pivot in the 4-2-3-1, and he's another guy who's in his own right very dangerous with the set pieces. This season, 6 assists for him.
Farrell. Again into the 18. Barnett. Here's a chance for Carlos. Crosses and sent aside. We'll have our third corner for the Pride in just the first 10 minutes.
And it's been a lot of heavy-duty defending from UNCW in their own area. A lot of Hofstra getting the ball forward, getting crosses in, getting corners in. So far, they've defended it well, but again, as this game goes on, the more chances you give Hofstra, the more likely they get one.
Baker here in the 10th minute. Skips a few times right through the 18. Farrell running across, and they'll give it to UNCW. Good hustle by them, and Ethan Newsome, the junior.
And Newsome is a guy who wears that number 10 shirt, can operate, in a couple, really across that front three in the 4-2-3-1. But Coach Heaney telling us, as they've kind of gotten going late in the season, a lot of it has to do with Newsome, and he's gotten going, and that's been a big factor in driving this team towards the CAA championship game.
2 goals this year. He's had at least 2 goals in every season that he's played, and a third-team selection when he was just a freshman. And this Seahawk group, again, they don't have that one real lights-out score, very balanced scoring. 6 different players have had game-winning goals this year for their 6 different wins.
I think that kind of says it all, right, about this team. So even if it's not the star power or maybe the 1 or 2 guys that like Hofstra has that they can rely on, it's a balanced team and different guys stepping up at different times to get those big clutch goals for them.
Goddard, the National Player of the Week. Looking for Woznicki. Back out to midfield. Farrell there first, now Milo Hall. High praise for Milo Hall from Coach Richard Nuttall, as he has come on to the starting lineup. This is his 3rd school, started at UNC Greensboro and then went to Pacific out west, now back out east. Seahawks really haven't had the ball in the attacking third really at all in this game so far, Tom.
Nope, and this is the guy they want to get touches, and that's Jamfi. And you can see what he can do. Again, very good close control, keeps the ball super tight to his body, can run at you with speed. Very dangerous as that central attacking midfielder in the 4-2-3-1.
Checo so steady on the back end himself. Goddard off the noggin. Settled down by the Seahawks, and now they can try and counter on a run. Infuso is there. He's played more games than anybody for the Pride. And check that, it was Orenson who has come on very strong for the Pride this season in his first year starting.
Good structure here from Hofstra, just forcing UNCW to go backwards and, again, not really allowing them to possess much or keep the ball for very long or any extended point in this game.
Clarkson, one of 2 players to start every game this season. Nearly misplayed by Infuso and last touched by the Seahawks. So the Pride get lucky on that misplay by their captain.
Cesare D'Amico is making that run in behind, trying to get on the end of it. The freshman out of Italy, having himself a nice season in his debut campaign, 3 goals, 2 assists. And of course, I think both coaches kind of told us the same thing, which is when you bring over international players in their first seasons, there's always that adjustment period. Sometimes it's a new language, it's a new country, obviously, a new style of play, very different game here at the college level than maybe in the academies over in Europe. So it's been a bit of a, a learning process getting him bled in, but he's come on well as of late.
Look out, here's the pacey Jamfi. The spectacular rookie, all rookie team selection this year, off the body of Hall. Gets past him now. Dribbling one-on-one against Barnett. Here's his cross. And wide, but the applause of his teammates First real good chance we've seen here for the Seahawks.
Exactly, and that's exactly what UNCW would like to do. Get Jamfi the ball in these attacking areas. You see him go to work, right? Beats Hall one-on-one, gets himself some speed down the left-hand side, and just the cross lacking at the end. But, those are the types of positions that you want to get him in, allow him to be dangerous, and try to pick out one of his teammates.
To Rock Carlos. Good ball up ahead, Barnett. Controls, he throws on the brakes. Farrell, 25 yards out, some space now, cuts left. Here's Owen Farrell playing in his first CAA championship game this 2024. Missed the last two to injury. They'll regroup from their own end. Last year's most outstanding player in Fuso. Pacheco. And believe it's an offsides.
Yeah, UNCW players were all over that. They were screaming for the flag to come up, and eventually it did come up against Hofstra, so free kick on the way here for the Seahawks.
Last year's championship final, Tom, boy, it was really a classic one. Pride go up 1-0. Red card because of a double yellow. Your captain goes out. They give up a penalty kick goal, and then Elliot Goldthorpe wins it in overtime. Just really a remarkable championship game that was here a season ago. Kind of tough to top that one, but you knew on paper this one would be just as good.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, that was a great taste of, some of the star power that Hofstra's had in the last few years. Guys like Carmichael, Goldthorpe, Spiel, really, again, helping to elevate this program to where they are. But, again, it can show you that anything can happen as well. A red card, an early goal, a strange goal, lucky bounce, all these things can turn the tide in a championship match.
Flip the field again, Barnett. Baker on the left side. Teddy Baker. One hop in, Smiley's there. Entered today without giving up a goal over the last 150 minutes in between those pipes. Now starting in his 10th game in a row. They got 3 young goalies who they have used this year, including Bennett Jones, who they did use in the first round during PK, specifically for PKs.
Yeah, that was a fun chat with Coach Heaney. Basically, he told us, I told Jones the night before, I didn't tell Smiley. And so we just kind of let it happen as we got to PKs. But that's obviously something they saw in training. Of course, every team works on PKs heading into postseason play. And they saw something that they really liked from their backup keeper and decided to go with him in the shootout in that big moment against Monmouth. Aiden
Heaney has done a fantastic job, really, with this program over the last quarter of a century. 5-time Coach of the Year, 4 regular season titles. This is their first championship appearance since 2017. First finals in 7 years. Meanwhile, the Pride have been in the finals 6 times since then. That just shows you the run that they've been on as of late. Milo Hall, after some more pressure inside the box. Orenson curls one, top of the 18. Farrell. As Pacheco, as he runs ahead. Quick touch right back to him. Orenson, the Icelandic native, a freshman who has really come on very strong, especially over the second half of the season.
The other funny thing, Dan, to me is, when you look back at some of the history between these teams in the CAA championship, the road for Hofstra to get to the final, they had to go through UNCW in the semis in 2022, 2020, and 2018. So something about this every 2 years thing where they seem to be meeting in a big game.
It's like an election.
CAA tournament time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, except instead of 4 years, it's 2 years. Let's go with that. It's actually the first time a #1 seed has not reached the finals since 2017 in the CAA championship. That was when William & Mary, the 5 seed, defeated the #2 seed Seahawks 4-2.
And that was really, again, both coaches just gushing about how competitive things have been top to bottom and, very little to really separate those teams. So I don't think they were too surprised that none of the top seeds made it because, again, they kind of view a lot of these teams on equal footing, and that's just how tight it's been. And a lot of teams have beaten other teams in the regular season and now, again, in postseason play. So it's really been a dogfight to try to, grab supremacy in the CAA this year.
Get even crazier with that first time a 1 or 2 seed, one of those top 2 seeds, to not make it since '08. All putting pressure on, pestering in their own end, sent down the near touchline, and it is an advantage given to the Seahawks deep in their own end.
Yeah, Jamfi looks like he just got clipped there a bit, so referee brings it back here. And
you look at those past contests, Monmouth, Drexel, that was the 3 and the 2 seed. He went in PKs, the first one. They've beaten Monmouth twice. They've beaten Drexel twice. You know, as Coach Heaney even said, listen, we lost to some teams that, you know, maybe we felt we should have been able to win and we could have won, but that's why you throw those old matchups right out the door.
yeah, again, to me, again, that just shows you that it's no fluke that they're here. You beat the number 2 and 3 seeds, you know, in this tournament play, and you beat them in both the regular season and then the postseason. And I mean, you look at the 2 matches too as well. I mean, these weren't matches that they were dominated and squeaked goals or, you know, kind of hit on the counter against the run of play, things like that. I mean, they were going toe to toe with those teams. They came out with wins in both of those matchups, and this is a team that certainly Hofstra respects very deeply. Coach Nuttall, I think there was a very deep mutual respect between Coach Nuttall and Coach Heaney, and Coach Nuttall saying that he always gets good players, does Coach Heaney, and guys who can really make an impact on the field.
Carlos, someone who always makes an impact on the field when he's out there. 20th minute of play. No score here in this CAA championship. Pride looking for their 8th in their program's history, and 4th consecutive. Would be the first team in CAA history to win 4 straight. Clipped up high is Woznicki, but he's not going to get the call there, especially in this kind of game.
Yeah, the Hofstra bench kind of thought he was blocked out there, and maybe there could have been a foul on the edge of the area. But yeah, as you said, I mean, in a big game like this, it's going to have to be very obvious for the official to give a free kick in that kind of dangerous position. And I think also everybody knows how big and strong Woznicki is too. So for him, you probably have to really get hit hard in order to draw a foul there.
Mike DeFelice is our referee for this championship final. Foul called against the Seahawks, and Farrell will just restart this from their own end. And the Pride made up of 21 different international players, 9 players here from the U.S., and that one guy there from Long Island, number 20, which is just about 10 minutes away, has played more games than anyone in the Pride uniform.
Yeah, it really is funny how, you know, a lot of, I'm sure, the attention goes to the internationals, and yet, as you said, it's one of the local recruits for Coach Nuttall from Belmore JFK High School, just a few minutes away, and Pearson Fuso, who has left a huge mark on this program and is the all-time leader in appearances now for the club, for the team.
All-American last year. First team selection once again this season. And never coming off the field. His 82nd consecutive start for the Pride. Game has kind of settled down more, still that feeling out process, but in those first 5-6 minutes, Tom, really on this side of the pitch, we saw a little more tilted, but now we've kind of settled down, some formations and whatnot, but you're just kind of waiting for someone to get that big run.
Yeah, and again, for Hofstra, there's been a lot of possession so far, but as you said, kind of still waiting for that first dangerous ball slip through or that first big shot attempt coming in. We haven't really seen anything too dangerous in that regard. And, you know, for UNCW, their best chance came when Infuso had that ball that he just couldn't quite reach on the stretch. And, you know, luckily for Hofstra, D'Amico wasn't able to get there either. So I think, you know, both teams still, again, kind of looking for that first big chance of the match. And just hasn't come yet. And we're approaching, you know, here the midway point about of this first half.
You really could call it a dynasty, especially over the last number of years. They've hosted 2 of those last 3 years. They won down at Elon in 2022. This is their 12th championship game appearance. 6 of the last 7 years they've been in the finals. Nationally ranked once again, number 18 going into this week. But you just win that conference tournament, there's just something a little bit different about it. You get that banner up here, and especially the way they've been doing it at home. 5 of the last 10 years, Tom, they've played here for a championship.
And I mean, the other thing that's so impressive to me, right? 10 straight CAA championship wins. So obviously, if you win 3 in a row, you're not going to have lost for a while. But still, it is wild to think of 10 times you play a winner go home kind of game, and you win 10 straight. And certainly a chance here for 11. But yeah, I don't think there's anywhere they'd rather do it than here at home, where they have outscored teams 16-3 at home this season with 6 shutouts.
23rd minute. Service into the box. That is Woznicki who gets to it first. And then Milo Hall coming away. And they're going to give a handball on that way back there at the edge of the box.
Yeah, Hornada came flying in there, and referee was all over that one. And again, I mean, for UNCW, right, that was a set-piece chance there. And so when you don't have possession, what are some of the ways that you can score? And if you get a dangerous set-piece chance, that's obviously one of the best ways to do it if you can.
Jamfi all over the place, as he usually is. So athletic and quick to get to the ball. Sent out near touchline. Deep throw in from their own end for the Seahawks. These fans, they have packed in here to Captain's Field. They're just waiting to celebrate something. Woznicki loses it. Carlos. Goddard. A little too strong of a touch. Recovers. Crosses looking for Baker. And that is too much muscle on it as well. Pacheco pinching in. He gets knocked down along that far touchline. And sent nearly the third of the fields up ahead.
And a thankless job, really, for D'Amico up there, operating as the lone forward in that 4-2-3-1. They don't have a lot of the ball. He's just doing a lot of hard running.
Barnett looking for someone running across. Instead, it is a Seahawk who goes down in the box. Foul against the Pride, as Hefele, the third-team selection, will be fouled. UNCW ball.
An impressive player in his own right, all-conference third team. It was second team back in 2022, now a 3-year starter for the Seahawks, and a guy who played across the pond, was with Nottingham Forest at their U21 level. His brother, a professional player as well for clubs all over Europe, and certainly brings some of that professional pedigree here.
Smiley angles it to the near sideline. Miralrio gets the first touch. Let the Pride get the ball. Hofstra, just another impressive year, especially with their RPI, but when you look at what this group overall has been able to do, being able to win those important games, that's what matters the most, not just the numbers that you see on their schedule. Jamfi, chance for Newsom. Sends it backwards as they now look to regroup. Clarkson. There's the cut between two. Knifed off his boot, taken right back by the Pride. Stolen away again. Hornaday. To the near side. Miralrio. And he's second to it, as Milo Hall will just toss one in.
And Miralrio, another guy who kind of had his role changed here. He's a big body in midfield. He normally was playing through the middle, even up top at times. And Coach Heaney telling us that this year they've really asked him to work more on the wings, and he's had some success there. 2 goals, 2 assists, but a guy that they think can, you know, really make an impact on the match today.
Brian Miralrio, 2 goals this year. Barnett now. Owen Barnett. Top of the box, cleared aside again. Jamfi against Hall. Hall wins it back for the Pride. Carlos, not there in time, to his own displeasure. Seahawks ball from the near side.
Yeah, naturally it was Shannon back there making a key decisive play on defense, not allowing that ball to get played through back into the 18-yard box. Nice defending.
Zach Sauer, the transfer from Northeastern, was an all-rookie team member and started his first 38 games up for the Huskies. Now stays in a graduate year for the Seahawks.
Coach Heaney telling us they wish they'd gotten him sooner. They loved what he's brought to the team this year, and they wish they had some more time with him.
Game getting a little chippier, which is what, of course, you would expect as time will go on. A lot of patience building from the back end here for Hofstra. Jaco. Off a Seahawk head first. It was Shannon, knocked out. Seahawks ball, and the Pride will sub on their next opportunity. As Sauer chips one up ahead, looking for Jamfi. Hall again. He's been spectacular so far today, and here he's tripped up at midfield.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you expect to see, right? Last maybe 15 minutes or so of a half, coaches will make some changes, try to bring on some fresh legs, see if they have a different guy off the bench who can maybe crack the code and get some scoring chances in. And injury coming in, he's going to be one of those guys that maybe he's on a bit of a minutes limit tonight. So he's maybe making way here, and he'll get some rest before the second half.
The junior from Toronto, Canada, Pablo Hempelman-Perez. He steps in, will work on the right side as Barnett moves to that defensive midfield role. Hempelman-Perez with a goal this year, played in 18 minutes and 30 minutes the last two games. Scoreless contest. Here in the 29th minute of play. Neither team has a shot on goal. Hofstra has the lone shot, but here's a good opportunity. Goddard. Hempelman-Perez sends it over the bar. He just comes on and has a beautiful chance to give the Pride the lead.
Yeah, I think that was his first touch of the game, really. Comes on, and immediately the ball gets rolled over to him near the top of the box. It was a difficult mistake for UNCW at the back, and they turn it over. You'll see it here, a very, very bad mistake, and Goddard does a great job here, basically rounds the keeper, and he gets it instead to Hempelman-Perez, who just, again, couldn't keep the shot down, was leaning back and skies it over the bar.
His goal came at American when he had a goal and an assist. That was early on in the season. Now on the counter for the Seahawks. To the attacking third. Good chance on the outside and sent too far with the left boot by Miralrio.
And so just as we see Hofstra's best chance of the game, we also see probably some of the best buildup of the contest of for UNCW, and leading to their most dangerous chance of the game, I think you'd have to say. So Miralrio trying that left bend, looking for that top corner, and just didn't quite get enough swerve on it to get it back on frame.
Had an assist in their win. Take that 1-0 lead on the road in Philadelphia. We haven't seen a lot of physical play in really the first half of this, Tom, but now you're starting to see it a lot more in the midfield, even though they're coming together and still apologizing.
Yeah, and that's, again, a situation now for UNCW where they get their set-piece specialist in Clarkson on the ball here, the junior out of Houston, Texas, and 6 assists on the year, a lot of those coming from set pieces. So he's a guy who can really put in a good ball, and as we said, when you don't have a lot of possession, you try to be dangerous on your set-piece chances when you get them, and that's what the Seahawks will be trying to do here as we get later and later into this first half.
Clarkson, as we mentioned before, 6th in the conference in assists. And started every game this year and half of 2023. And it looks like Jake Shannon will be the one who takes it instead, who has played all but 1 minute in his collegiate career. The sturdy captain for the Seahawks, right side. Nearly misplayed, and they go right behind the defense on a cross. Let the Pride recover. Baker fighting for the ball with Newsom. Knocked out. Pride advantage up ahead. And they'll restart it in front of their own bench.
And a decent ball in by UNCW on that last sequence, but nobody really making that hard run down the center. And so in the end, only a white shirt there to clean it up for Hofstra. because, again, didn't have enough runners in there.
Hall. Hampelman Perez, who probably had the best chance for the Pride in this game. Skip pass, Pacheco. Service outside the box. Steered ahead. Hampelman Perez can't get there. It is Sauer who does first. Jamfi. Off the leg of Barnett.
Yeah, another one of the keys from Coach Heaney that he talked about was got to win those first and second balls, and so far we've seen Hofstra very comfortable playing long because they think they're going to win that first ball. Maybe, again, a guy like Woznicki can head it down to Goddard or work in some of those other guys, and so far I think UNCW has done a very nice job actually winning those first balls and getting them away from their 18-yard box.
Exactly what Coach Heaney said. The game would be won or lost, those first or second. And the restarts on deliveries, and right now they'll restart it with the right foot of Jake Shannon down the near touchline. Carlos, and that's a handball the other way.
Yeah, unlucky for Clarkson, because if he was able to settle that one down off the chest, I mean, he basically had the whole field to look at. He could have been playing that one down the center, working in one of those guys out wide, or maybe even trying to advance on the dribble there, but caught him on the arm, and so Hofstra now will get back to work.
Baker, Carlos. Hits the turf. Baker again settles. Back from their own half of the field. Working into Seahawk real estate. UNCW looking for their first championship in 15 years. The Pride looking for their 8th in their program's history. Barnett. And so steady with the ball when it's between his feet. Missed every game last year to injury. The last contest, the full 90, was a career high. Far side run, Newsom. Here's a chance for Acevedo, and gobbled up by Dodone.
Yeah, well worked, and Acevedo found himself in a good area. A guy who, you know, has really split a lot of the striking time up top with D'Amico. You know, maybe brings a little bit of a different body type, but a guy that Coach Heaney told us is certainly a poacher in the area, and they set him up for a pretty good look, forcing, you know, really the first save of the match for Dodone.
Goals in 3 of his last 5 matches. Woznicki tries to angle it to the top of the area. It is Carlos who comes away with the rock. Carlos working into the area, taken down. Fans wanted a call on that one. Now off the back of Woznicki, taken away by the Seahawks. They'll counter from right to left. Newsom far side. And settle it back down in their own end of the field.
Yeah, and how about that tackle from Sauer? I mean, that is one that you absolutely have to get right. Otherwise, it's going to wind up as a penalty kick. And even against Carlos, who's so quick, he's got that low center of gravity, very hard to go 1v1 against. He makes a great tackle in the box.
Clarkson looking for a nice run from Acevedo, keeps it just before it hits the end line. Jamfi in the near corner, one-on-one against Hall. Fakes out nearly everybody except for Hall. Still controls. Boy, he has that ball like a yo-yo on his boot. And earns himself a corner.
Yeah, and you can see, right, he thinks to himself, he doesn't have much going on. But again, let's go back to that tackle by Sauer. It almost looks like he's beaten here for a moment. And then just at the end, he's able to get that right leg extended and get a touch on the ball. Otherwise, again, Carlos would have been winning a penalty kick for Hofstra. But back on this side, Jamfi didn't feel like he had enough options. He just kicks it out off of Hall. He says, hey, I'll take the corner instead. And again, get their set piece guy, Clarkson, up here for some good delivery.
With the right boot, in swinger coming. Here it goes, near side, off the head. Jamfi, Newsom, airmails it.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to take something really special, obviously, to beat Dodone from there, and just didn't quite get the contact right. You see the corner kick, it's to the near post, and, you know, I'm not always a huge fan of those because, you know, if you can't get it past the first man, I mean, it kind of defeats the whole corner, but maybe something they worked on. It was their big center back on the near Newsome on that half volley, just, again, skying it.
Dodone. Strong leg, which owes more than half the field. Off the noggin of Barnett. Kicked back the other direction. And there is a whistle and a foul. Back on the Seahawks side of the pitch. And it looks like they're calling over the trainer right away, too.
Yeah, hard to see. I'm not sure if they wound up giving it as a foul or just blew it dead because the player was still down. So we'll see if they restart with the drop ball or not. But either way, again, some of the physicality that we've seen, guys flying into tackles. And, you know, as Coach Nuttall told us, finals, they're a different beast, right? I mean, you know, every guy wants to bring their 100%. Everybody wants to be, you know, looking back on this years from now and saying, yeah, we won that final. Nobody wants to talk about the ones they lost.
Yeah, and they want to win their 8th title, which would tie them with William & Mary and JMU for the most championships in CAA history. Would also be their 4th straight, as you mentioned before, but really remarkable what Richie Nuttall has been able to do in more than 3 decades at the helm, with the likes of some of those teams that have had such consistency over the years. Of course, JMU no longer in the conference. Richie Nuttall, win tonight would be 350 in his career, 11th most of all active Division I coaches.
Certainly a legend around these parts, and more becoming, you know, one of the most respected coaches in the region for what he's done and the way he's been able to build this Hofstra program.
And the program, when you build something like that, and he even said it, that's the reason why we were able to get guys like Woznicki, because he said there were ACC schools after him, and feels the reputation definitely helps get that next level of player.
Certainly, and a guy who you can tell he's Hofstra through and through, the way he speaks about the university and his time here, and, you know, the academic side as well, what Hofstra can offer, all the different programs. Also, he says is a big factor in getting some of these recruits as well.
37th minute of play. Scoreless. Only one save and one shot on goal, and it's Filippo Dodone. Carlos. Orenson a little too strong. Hall's able to slow it down a little bit, but Newsome has some open grass. Newsome has Jamfi behind him, instead takes it. Cross. Nowhere there. Settled back by the Seahawks. Sauer, and then the quick touch by Newsome. Hofstra has control, but a good opportunity for UNCW.
Yeah, and again, you know, more spells of possession here and there for UNCW, getting themselves in more dangerous opportunities. And again, those are two of the guys they want on the ball the most, Newsome and Jamfi, and both kind of combining down on this left-hand side to try to get something dangerous going for the Seahawks, but the cross wound up getting cleared away by Pacheco.
Pacheco looking for Woznicki, that big strong body of his on the edge of the 18. Teddy Baker, who works on the right side now, and this is going to be a deep throw-in favor of the Pride. Quick reset by Baker. Baker had a remarkable career at a Division II level for a couple of seasons. Has had his 100th career point at both levels. He was a D2 All-American 2 years ago.
And again, you know, it just shows you that the way that they recruit here from Hofstra to get some of these transfers, they get them from different levels, different countries, NAIA we talked about, Division II. I mean, they get them from all over. They just seem to find guys who not only fit what they want to do playing-wise, but also you hear Coach Nuttall talk about it a lot, guys that are going to fit in with the program, guys are going to fit in with them academically. You know, there's a lot that goes into getting the right guys to fit the program.
And Baker was one that he was actually interested with early on, mentioned last year. He felt he was kind of a Cadillac when the rest of the team were Ford and Chevys, right? Where he was a little flashier than the other ones, that lunch pail that Hofstra soccer is about, but he has really adjusted nicely. And here he has a run on the left side for Goddard. Goddard to the 8. Goddard controls again. There is a Seahawk down, and that will stop play. It is a card. It's going to go against Laurie Goddard.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was for the foul or perhaps just for dissent. Maybe said something to the referee, frustrated about the amount of times he's stopped play here, but certainly, again, when you see an injury, referee is going to go ahead and stop play. So, and again, you have to say, so far, UNCW has really defended admirably, and as dangerous at times that Hofstra has looked. I mean, you see the team effort here, lunging back in there, clearing away from the near post there from Hornaday, and Heffele in there as well, lunging in. So they've really thrown everything they can have Hofstra so far, and so far UNCW have done a really good job in terms of defending. And, you know, I think one of the things that always sticks out to me, Dan, too, in a game like this is the longer that a team goes like Hofstra without scoring, maybe the pressure starts to build. You know, they're here on their home field. They're looking for their 4th consecutive title. I think all of that kind of brings a little bit of pressure at the longer the game goes scoreless. And also on the flip side, the longer it goes scoreless, the more confidence that UNCW starts to have, and they get that belief that, hey, we're hanging around this game. Let's go ahead and try to go win it.
Oh, and the Pride, we're towards the end of the regular season. You don't get into that 1 or 2 seed, which is something they've been so accustomed to, especially as of late. So you kind of wondered, oh, to be able to play here at home, well, this is how they got there. An overtime win against Charleston, the Olympico goal by Teddy Baker, as we mentioned before. A win over Elon last Sunday. Goddard having 2 goals less than 4 minutes apart. Just a remarkable effort from him. And here they are once again playing in a championship.
Yeah, and Coach Nuttall basically saying that, you know, that first matchup was pretty much dead even, went to overtime. He said, you know, I think either team could have won, honestly. But, you know, then he felt they played a little bit better in that semifinal match. It was a little bit more comfortable of a 2-0 win. And so now today, again, looks so far very even. Shots 3-2 in favor of UNCW, actually, so far, even again, despite the possession advantage of Hofstra.
Well, 2 yellow cards have now been given during this time. First, it was Goddard on the field after the play stopped, and now it's a team yellow card, which I believe Richie Nuttall was the one who did say it, and that's who they gave it against. So it is a Hofstra bench yellow card is what it's official. So 2 yellow cards coming here in the 40th minute of play.
Yeah, and you wonder if he was expressing his displeasure at one of his best players getting a yellow for, again, what I believe to be was dissent in that last sequence. So championship, you know, final like this, I think the coach is probably going to ask the referee to give the guys a little bit more leeway, but now instead both he and Goddard wind up with yellows.
Here's a good run by Rock Carlis. Carlis makes the extra pass. The shot denied. Pablo Hempelman-Perez with another good opportunity here in the early going, and Smiley says no.
Big save from Smiley, getting that foot out for the kick save, and again, I mean, so much of that was set up by Carlis and what he's able to do. Picks it up in the little half spaces. You see, again, low center of gravity, just a driving run towards the goal, and draws a lot of attention, able to get it over on that left side for a great chance there for Hempelman-Perez. And, you know, just couldn't quite tuck that one away in the corner, so allowed Smiley to get that right flipper out and kick it away.
Smiley with excellent position. Born in British Columbia, grew up in Lyndon, Washington. His high school just 6 4/10 of a mile away from the border of the U.S. and Canada. I mean, he really is right there. His dad with his coach around high school. Came in here, red shirt last year. And now has been starting for the last 10 games, as they're going to get Ornson on a foul of Jemfe.
Yeah, and Jemfe did have that positioning there, so, you know, the way the referee sees it, he thinks it looks like Orson coming in through the backside. And, you know, I don't know if there was really a ton of contact, but again, it was the good positioning of Jemfe getting there first. That kind of invites a little bit of that contact in the back from Orson and lets the referee make that foul call.
He'll bring 10 players up to the Hofstra side of the pitch as Smiley has it about a third of the way from his goal. Long boot up ahead, takes 1 hop, now 2, as Ornson just waits for it to go out of play by the Pride patio right behind the goal. Of course, when we were talking to Coach Nuttall this week and Coach Haney, they're both saying the same exact thing. You know, you got to look one game at a time. You know, the old cliche coach talk that they like to say, but it really is so true. You know how good this conference is, and one mistake, no matter who you play, can end up turning into a loss. Hempelman-Perez, long shot, and goes wide right.
Yeah, one of those dangerous ones where, you know, maybe he was split between his minds. Was it a shot? Was it a cross? Either way, it winds up getting played very dangerously across the face of goal. And unfortunately for Hofstra there, didn't have that one player kind of making that slam dunk run at the back post just out of the reach of Carlos. I think he might have been the closest one to it, but a good chance nonetheless. Another kind of warning sign fire there.
Hempelman-Perez only had 6 shots to start this season. We'll start this game during this season. He has 3 tonight. He's getting some good looks. Carlos turns and stops on a dime. Just a magician with the ball between his feet.
Yeah, that'll get the oohs and ahs going from the crowd there.
Pacheco. Off the head of Baker. Can't settle it yet. Trying to garner position, Baker, and a corner kick coming for Hofstra.
And that was one of those dangerous balls in the box, as you know, Coach Heaney talked about the first and second balls. That was in and around the box for a long while there, and you were just wondering, could UNCW finally get a clearing touch? Winds up going for the corner.
4th corner of the match, and we're here in the 45th minute of play. Can the Pride get something late? Newsom clears back out to center. Barnett there. With 45. Jamfi gonna counter the other way. Hall's there immediately as he cuts across. Keeps it on the carpet. Baker now. Teddy Baker chips it across. It's Smiley, who's right off his line quickly with a half minute to go.
He realizes how much time is left. He gets that thing moving quickly, trying to give UNCW a chance to get down the field in these closing under 20 seconds.
Slow down on the far side as Martin Rivera, the freshman who has been starting at that right back position, tosses one in. Let's see if Hofstra can get anything else here. Neither can the Seahawks, and that's going to do it for the first half of action. So, both teams have a shot on goal. Hofstra the advantage in corners, but no score in your CAA championship. Tom, your first half thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, again, if anybody thought that this was going to be an easy game, I mean, that's just silly because, again, of how well UNCW has been playing of late. Again, a very different team than they were in the meeting back in September, and they've been playing really well, well-deserved victories in their 2 games leading up to this. And again, even with the possession advantage that Hofstra had, certainly the first part of that first half extremely dominant in possession, maybe didn't lead to enough offensive chances. Started to get a little bit more closely contested as the half went on. But yeah, the shots finished 3-3. Hofstra with the better edge in corners and, you know, probably the better chance or two in the match so far, both coming from Hempelman-Perez. But I think, you know, all in all, UNCW will be very pleased with the way they defended and didn't concede too many great looks against Hofstra. And for them, it'll certainly be finding their time, picking their spots to try to get forward and, you know, make a little bit more noise in front of Dodone. And for Hofstra, it's just about turning that possession into something a bit more concrete. You know, possession is great, but at some point it's got to turn into, you know, real chances at the other end. So that'll be their game plan for the second half. How do we get those chances? And I'm sure that's what will be the big talk at halftime for Coach Nuttall and his staff.
A tight final here from Captain's Field. They come on out looking for one team their first championship in 15 years, the other their first in 365 days. What will be decided when we come back in the second half of action? Tom and I will break it all down and get you started for the second half of the CAA Men's Soccer Championship, only here on FloFC.
Three teams punched their tickets to the postseason on the last day of the regular season in what proved to be a competitive men's soccer campaign. With the tournament right around the corner, it's time to recognize the talent across the league. Here are your 2024 CAA Men's Soccer Awards. Let's get started with your major award winners. We kick things off with the Player of the Year award, which goes to Elon's Scott Vatney. The Norwegian midfielder had his most prolific season in front of goal, tallying a career-high 27 points with 10 goals and 8 assists. Vatney's most impressive performance came against Northeastern when his 7 points were the most in a conference game by a single player since September 2022. Two phenomenal playmakers in the midfield garnered the majority of the coach's votes, earning the title Co-Midfielders of the Year in the CAA. Charleston's Leonardo D'Ambrosio had a stellar season, notching a career-high 25 points. The Italian midfielder netted 9 goals and added 7 assists. D'Ambrosio is third in the CAA in points and fourth in assists. Drexel's Patrick Short also takes home a share of the Midfielder of the Year award. Short had a stellar year, leading the conference in assists with 10 and pitched in with 5 goals. Anchoring a backline that conceded a league-low 11 goals this season, Monmouth's Gabe Dahlin takes home CAA Defender of the Year. Dahlin and the Hawks were soaring all season near the top of the NCAA in shutouts, with the senior defender contributing to 8 in his 15 starts. Dahlin chipped in at the opposite side of the field as well, tallying 1 goal and 2 assists. For the second year in a row, the CAA's Rookie of the Year is a Blue Hen. It's Delaware's Marius Stenner. Just one season into his collegiate career, Stenner has proven to be one of the most prolific players in front of goal across the CAA. The number 14 player on Top Drawer Soccer's midseason top freshman list has secured a team-high 9 goals and 5 assists. Stenner ranks first in the nation for game-winning goals with 5 tallies. Our final major award recipient comes from Elon once again. The CAA Coach of the Year is Mark Reeves. Reeves guided the Phoenix to their second CAA regular season title in 3 years and the number 1 seed in the upcoming CAA championship. Elon spent a majority of the early stages of the season in the national rankings and posted its best record since 2022 with a 10-win campaign. That wraps up our major award winners for the season, so let's move along to the All-CAA teams. We kick things off with the first team. Monmouth led the way with 3 selections, while Drexel, Delaware, and Hofstra earned 2. Moving on to our second team, where Elon earned a league-best 4 placements. And now a look at the All-CAA third team, which sees 3 members of Hofstra earn a spot in the midfield, and UNCW placed 2 defenders on the team. Now let's take a look at the top young players in the conference with the All-Rookie team. Congratulations to all the student athletes for their hard work over the past few months, and with the regular season officially in the books, the 2024 CAA Men's Soccer Championship starts Thursday. Tune in on FloFC.
Scoreless in the CAA championship so far, Tom, and Pride have had some good chances.
Yeah, and UNCW has defended well. I mean, we've seen that a lot. Hofstra in and around the 18-yard box, and yet, for the most part, UNCW has done some admirable defending and tried to limit Hofstra as best as they can. This was one of the best tackles in that first half coming from Sauer. Had to win that one absolutely right against Rock Carlos.
The Pride, again, when you look at the numbers and what they've been able to do this season, leading the conference in goals, 40 goals overall total, 18th in the nation in goals per game, and they haven't been able to get anything behind the net, but that Seahawk defense, again, just so sturdy as they usually are all season long.
Yep, and as you see here, UNCW started to get a couple more chances as the half went on. That one coming off a corner, and this may be one of the best chances of the match for Hofstra. That low ball driven across, just couldn't get anybody on the end of it, but it was a lot of Hempelman-Perez doing dangerous things for Hofstra in that first half when he came on as a sub. And here he was again. This was, again, probably the best save for either side, with Smiley getting that right foot out to kick away that one and, again, keep things scoreless after the first 45.
Of course, it's so hard to look at soccer stats and really tell what the tempo of the game is, but pretty even across the board. It's what I guess you can kind of say what you saw on the field through the first 45 minutes, except for that corners, 4-1 in favor of the Pride. So when we come back, we'll get started with the second half of action. Will we crown a champion in regulation? We'll find out in the second 45, only on FloFC. The CAA Men's Soccer Championship is brought to you by SoldOut.com, the official ticket resale partner of the CAA. Sold out crowd essentially here at Captain's Field to watch this CAA championship. UNCW will be from left to right here in this second half. Pride in their home white uniforms from right to left. No Owen Farrell to start the second half. Instead, it is Pablo Hempelman-Perez, who already had 3 shots in the first.
Yeah, came on. I thought he was definitely an impact substitution for Coach Nuttall in that first half, and had really 2 of the best chances of the match, maybe the 2 best chances of the match. And we're talking about for either side. So Hempelman-Perez gets to stay out there, and I'm sure that the coaching staff will be telling him, hey, you got to bring your finishing boots here for half number 2.
Smiley to our left, Adone to our right. First kick of the ball in the second half. We're underway. We appreciate you joining us this Saturday evening. Still a very nice night out for a fall night. Getting a little chilly out there somewhat, but not too bad. As a quick offsides will give the Seahawks the ball with Jake Shannon Three-time third-team selection, starting every game of his career, all-rookie team as well, back his freshman year. Something that Coach Heaney said to us, Tom, was he, tried to tell these guys, mostly underclassmen on this roster, but just go out there and have fun with it. Let's enjoy this moment of being in the CAA championship.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. And I mean, again, sometimes, coaches will say that with the guys and the youth of these guys that maybe they don't even realize how big of a moment it is. So maybe they play a bit more free or a bit looser out there compared to some of these upperclassmen who have, been there or know how hard it is to get back there. Some of these freshmen for UNCW might think, hey, we're going to get back here every year. And unless you're Hofstra for the last few years, that rarely happens.
What's the Pride playing back here in their 5th consecutive championship game? 6 of the last 7 years they have been in this CAA championship. Here's a good look. Extra pass. Goddard denied by Smiley. Less than 2 minutes in, it is Goddard with the best chance, the National Player of the Week. And Smiley with a kick save and a beauty.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to get another look at this because Rock Carlos did such a great job of getting onto that second ball. Little header across, and again, just set it up beautifully for Goddard. And again, with a guy as hot as he has been, 7 goals, 2 assists in his last 8, you expect him to probably finish that. But again, Smiley coming up with a big-time save for UNCW.
Baker instead has a free kick, about 15 yards or so inside of the half. Here in the 48th minute, Teddy Baker. Service right side off the noggin of Newsom, back out. Rock Carlos, a battle to the far side. And whose ball is it? It's Hofstra's, according to the far side official.
Yeah, it took a little while to get that sorted out, but does go back Hofstra's way here.
Orenson will toss this in. Boy, that Smiley save was something else. Again, he's already made 2 really good stops. His first career game was actually on this field in the first meeting that they had. Played in the second half, made 2 saves, didn't give up a goal, faced 7 shots in their loss, 3-0.
Yeah, talk about a very difficult place to play and come in for your first career, appearance as a redshirt freshman, and one of the places where it's been very, very tough to get wins for teams all over the country coming in here to Captain's Field, as the Pride have been dominant at home and really turned this into a fortress.
They have won here the last 21 consecutive games they have played in. They've not lost in their last 21 consecutive games. 18-0-2 the last 2 years here at Captain's Field. A few draws in there along the way, but still never giving up a loss. And here is a good counterattack by Goddard. He keeps going. Gets past Shannon. Goddard. And an offside as he was looking for Woznicki.
Yeah, and a rare miscue there from UNCW. That ball slipping through, a bit of a misplay, and almost led to something for the Pride going back the other way. And I think all of the Seahawks defenders very relieved to see the offside flag come up on that far side. But I'll tell you what, Smiley didn't know the offside flag was going up, and he still came out and made sure to get out there and make a stop just in case.
Smiley from his own end as we stay scoreless. But the Pride already some chances in the first 5 minutes of the second frame. Lots of contact on the far side. And one of the Seahawks is down. As Newsom wants a call for it, as he's running over to the ref. That is Miralbio, who is down and being looked at by the trainers. Well, the RPI this year, it's so impressive. You have all these teams that are in the top 100. 10 of the 12 teams are in the top 103 in the RPI. Hofstra is the highest, of course, at number 4, which is the highest they've ever been.
Yeah, and really, and the CAA is in elite company in terms of the number of those teams in the top 100. I mean, you're putting them right up there with some of those, big powerhouse, power school conferences, things like the ACC and the Big East, and teams that you might traditionally expect to see with that many teams in the top 100. But again, it just goes to show you how strong the league has been from top to bottom. Not many easy games, and again, both coaches talked about that. That's how they found themselves as the 4th and 6th seeds, because of how difficult it's been top to bottom. But you look at what Hofstra has done, super impressive, number 4 in the country in the RPI. So certainly for them, I think a chance to potentially host the NCAA tournament games here again at Captain's Field, based on the strength of schedule, some of the key results that they've gotten against ranked teams in non-conference play as well.
That's something that Coach Nuttall said, we're not talking about it. He knows it's cliche, but one game at a time. He said if anybody on this group talks about anything but UNCW, we'll rip their head off. In very Richard Nuttall fashion. But as a league, the CAA ranks 6th of the 15 different conferences in terms of their league RPI. So, yeah, it just shows how strong this league is, not just this year, but has continued to build over time.
Yeah, and again, they've had some really, elite programs with some elite stretches. Of course, there was, those key JMU years. Right now, we're in kind of a Hofstra couple of years, but, Elon's been very good the last number of years. Charleston's starting to become one of those teams. UNCW has had some really good years as well. So, a lot of different programs contributing and trying to get and fight for the top spot here in the CAA. It's, again, made it a very fun conference to watch from top to bottom.
Hall's pass intercepted by Sauer, who sends it down the far touchline, and he'll take it right back. Milo Hall playing in his most games since his freshman year when he was at UNC Greensboro. This is his 17th game, 15th start of the season. And he's had a tough matchup, but a good one against Osei Jamfi. Infuso surveys the pitch. It's to Barnett. Again, works more as that defensive position with Farrell out.
Yeah, and for Hofstra, maybe it's not the worst thing right now because, again, haven't had to do quite as much defending with the possession dominance. So having an extra guy like Barnett, who's very good in possession and on the ball, that's not the worst thing to have as you're kind of holding number 6 type of player there.
Pacheco chips one towards the edge, headed back the other way. Barnett, the right boot, and intercepted. Here comes UNCW. The pass from Clarkson up ahead to Newsome. He's got a running Acevedo. Let's see if Acevedo can get there in time. One-on-one here with Infuso. And Infuso, beautifully done, steers it aside.
So steady back there for Hofstra. And again, a guy who brings all of this championship appearance, his 5th career championship game, as we mentioned earlier. Just a tremendous run for him and Rock Carlos as well on this Hofstra team.
In the tournaments overall over the last 5 years, he's been averaging 97.5 minutes in those games. That's a lot of minutes per contest. Now with a lot of years under his belt for this Pride group. Up ahead, Goddard gets a step. Works against Afile. It's angled up slightly. Goddard still controls here in the near corner. Laurie Goddard. Intercepted right to the boot of Jamfi. Jamfi spins it up ahead, has some space, looking for Acevedo on the near side, and it'll go out before Infuso gets there.
I thought it was an amusing story, too, that Coach Nuttall told us that, when Infuso came in as a freshman, they really weren't expecting him to start right away, but about halfway through that first season, one of their center backs got injured. Infuso went into the starting lineup, and he's never left. So that's just sometimes how it goes. Throughout the course of the college season, you're going to have guys get banged up. Other guys are going to have to step up and, again, just kind of grab the reins there as a freshman and has not given them up.
Jamfi, who has had himself a fantastic freshman season. From Ghana, played his high school at Monteverde Academy. The highly respected SEMA. 4 goals, 3 assists. Down in Florida. And not big, listed at just 5'9", 140, but he is quick. He is athletic. And has a real good sense of the ball. UNCW wants a handball. They're not going to get it.
And that long throw coming in from Jamfi, and I mean, just as we mentioned for Hofstra, there's always a chance that it could lead to something, and it gets launched in here. We'll get a better look at it to see if the shouts for handball were anything, but no chance. That one, you know, off the body of the Hofstra defender, and even if it was the arm was against the body, so definitely no chance for me.
Carlos gets a step and tangled up. Going the other way, though, Carlos is irate, and so is the Hofstra bench.
And again, you just want to be careful if you're Carlos and not wind up getting booked for dissent there. And I'm trying to see here on the replay if I saw anything that Carlos did really there. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, both guys had their arms out. There was a little bit of that hand fighting going, but I didn't really see any kind of arm bar or anything extra there to warrant the foul. But after all said and done, just a kick here for Smiley back in his own end.
So Nuttall giving it to the official on his way over. Again, bench already has a yellow card in this contest. Assistant coach Sean Foster and associate head coach Stephen Roach standing right to his side. Sorensen angled it the other way. Now Woznicki dispossessed back in midfield, taken right back by Goddard, and foul called against him as the fans start to give it to the referee.
And again, you know, it's something that we touched on a bit in that first half, but again, for Hofstra, I think a team who is home here, trying to win another one, been good in possession. The longer the game goes like this, the chance that the frustration builds for them that they haven't found the breakthrough, and you have to be careful there. You have to, of course, stay focused. We've seen UNCW try to work and hit them on the counter a few times in the second half. So
Jamfi, it goes right to goal. Dodone there. Second school for Dodone 2 years ago. Played at Cal State. Started 16 games. Someone who did come in with some experience. Also, of course, at the international level back in Italy. But a senior who has really stepped into, again, big shoes when you have a 3-year starter and someone who has all the accolades. Just won ACC Goal of the Year, Wessel Spiel. So he played one final season at Duke. That's tough to do, really, for anyone. And here is a foul and advantage coming. We'll see if there is a booking as well. There is a yellow.
yeah, it was a bit of a 50-50 ball there, and the Hofstra player getting there first, just kind of getting caught in the tackle by Miralrio on that far side, and that was Milo Hall kind of getting stepped on there, and referee's assistant flagged right away, and referee was over there quickly with the booking, as Hofstra here going to make a sub.
Comes in the 58th minute, and here comes Owen Farrell. Hampelman Perez off. So again, that moves Barnett over. Farrell, who has more of a defensive role. And Teddy Baker takes it just to the left of the CAA logo. Big chance here. Keeps this one low, hits the ground. Farrell chips it high and over the goal.
And again, part of what Farrell does that makes him so good is he does a lot of that dirty work to allow the offensive guys ahead of him to be able to work freely. And as we saw there, the little layoff for Farrell, edge of the 18, and just tried to sort of chip. Goal kick coming.
Advantage given to the Pride. As a foul is called on UNCW. Foul has that entire left leg taped up. Now, in the second-year Pride player, third team selection this year. U19, U18 Irish national team. Takes an extra hop. Here's Goddard. Denied again. Oh, Smiley.
It almost looks like a carbon copy of the last chance for Goddard, right? So a little bit of a flick on. And again, this is what they try to do. It's that second ball. You win the first one in the direction of Goddard. He gets on the end of it. And what we're going to see on the replay here is that the way Smiley gets out, he cuts off the angle, makes himself big, and he takes this one off the body. So does really well here. Goddard taking that extra touch and tried to lash it back with the left foot and hit the keeper in what I would say is a very sensitive area.
Well said.
As again, we see a great crowd on hand here at Captain's Field, and that's certainly something that the Pride have become known for in these big nights under the stadium lights, is they usually bring out a pretty good crowd, and they've been treated to a great contest so far here in the CAA title game.
Well, Smiley has made 3 saves in this game, and every one has been tough. These are not easy saves at all to make. No question, he has kept this at a scoreless contest for his group.
Yeah, and Coach Heaney, again, very complimentary of Smiley and the way that he was able to win the starting job. Again, you see here that flick on from Woznicki. This is, again, part of what makes this duo so good up top is Woznicki will do the hard work, wins that first ball in the direction of Goddard, gets him a good look inside the box, and a huge save again from Smiley.
A corner does come. Baker, far side, punched out to the top of the 18. Farrell doesn't know where it is. Neither does Jamfi. Now controlled. Kept in by Hall. Another good opportunity here for Hofstra. Goddard down the left side. Crosses with the left and too far on his cross.
Yeah, and I like that decision from Baker, sending that one in, almost putting it on top of the keeper. Again, you just saw the keeper get hit hard with a shot. He had a tough time getting up. You can see it looks like he's still kind of feeling the effects of that save from a moment ago. So why not immediately put him under pressure, have to have him sort of defend that corner kick, and give a lot of credit to Smiley. Again, got a good strong hand on it, forced it outside of the box. You know, sometimes the goalie can just push it back in the danger area. He got enough on it outside the box, and then they sent the ball back in, but only led to the goal kick.
Trey Smiley was a unsung hero on a championship basketball team for his high school back in those days. Doesn't really surprise you considering that 6'4" frame. Woznicki settles it down. Baker, a low shot right into the teeth of the D. Goddard again, cuts right. More space, Goddard! Too far left.
And it looks like it took a touch on the way through as well. Referee immediately points for the corner kick here as we take another look at it. And again, just this one falls to Goddard. He just, again, finds himself time and time again in that good area to get a ball here. And the shot, I think, wound up coming off of the center back, Heffele, last, and leads to another corner.
Right at Smiley. Off his line, picks it out of the air.
And UNCW was asking for the foul there, but I don't think pressure there from Infuso, and he does well making the catch in traffic.
Pride getting some chances here with a half hour remaining in regulation of the CAA championship game. The Jaco, now Infuso. Surveys the green.
And starting to feel more like it did early in the first half where Hofstra was just dominant in possession.
Takes an extra bounce, can't get to Carlos in time. Skied in the air by Sauer. One hop, Acevedo. And he'll chip it all the way out to the far side. Run up ahead. Flag down first by the Seahawks, looking for Jamfi. Off his noggin once, now twice, and Farrell does the same. Barnett gathers, corralled by Hall. Crossed into midfield, Jamfi. Hard touch, that gives Hall a chance to take it right back as Farrell goes back to cage. Dodone has not been challenged much. One save on the only shot that's gone his way. Rock Carlos there. A motor that keeps on running. Hall. On the carpet, Barnett. Cuts to his left. Back to Carlos, the cross. Looking for Goddard, still in the air. Can Woznicki settle? No. Cleared away by the Seahawks, back to midfield.
And that time we saw Goddard trying to return the favor for Woznicki. You know, usually, again, it's been a lot of Woznicki winning that first ball tonight, getting it in the direction of Goddard. This time Goddard tried the header back across to Woznicki and just couldn't quite corral it.
Jamfi tries to draw something as he takes a spill. Farrell looks around here in the 63rd minute of play of his scoreless championship game. Pacheco, Infuso. Hall. And Jamfi and Acevedo, the only two really playing high. Everyone else dropping back here, Tom. Exactly what you would expect against this offense for Hofstra.
Yep, pretty much just trying to stay structured, make it very difficult for Hofstra to break them down. And again, as we said, really not even being too aggressive at the top of the press, just sort of, again, wanting to stay structured, stay deep. Two lines of forward, really difficult to break down for Hofstra. That's kind of what they're trying to do. And then again, try to pick your spots on the counter. So if you get a turnover high up the field, you can try to go quickly, get it out in the feet of Jamfi, let him start running at the opposing defense. And, you know, again, for Hofstra, sometimes they're only leaving two center backs back there. So, you know, maybe those are the times where you can try to catch them with a long ball over the top.
Orenson plays it backwards. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not. Dodone has to go to his feet, now scoops it up with Acevedo right in his face. Christian Acevedo leading this group with 4 goals, but has only started 1 game. Goals in both matchups against Monmouth, the team that they defeated in the first round en route to get themselves here to the championship game. Teddy Baker, Goddard, nice touch. Here's Baker, keeps a low cross. Smiley there once more as he pounces on the ball.
Yeah, lovely build-up play there from the Pride, the combination of Goddard and Baker down this left-hand side. And, you know, really good interplay. Eventually, again, you get it into the feet of Baker. Who else would you rather have sending that ball across for Hofstra? But a good job by Smiley. Made sure that ball never got to a guy like Barnett, who was waiting out there at the top of the 6.
65th minute of play. Owen Farrell playing in his first game since the last 2. Goddard, Newsome there first. Pressure on as the Seahawks really have been playing on their heels in this end of the pitch.
And again, that shows you the work rate. Everybody buying in right now for UNCW when it's a guy like Newsome, the right mid who wants to be up there attacking. He's all the way back in his own 18-yard box, helping out, defending, making sure Hofstra doesn't get a clean look there.
Long toss from Farrell. Popped high into the sky. Acevedo comes away with the biscuit. Jamfi. It's so impressive to watch him go one-on-one against anybody.
Yeah, I mean, even a few times I feel like Hofstra just tried to steer him to the sideline, use the line as kind of an extra defender, and he still finds a way to cut central, open up the field for himself, pick out teammates. So it really has been fun watching Jamfi, again, an all-rookie selection and a guy who certainly has a bright future in this league for the next few years to come.
The File slips, but so does Woznicki. That could have been crucial. On the near touchline, Pride ball. Baker wants a quick toss, and they're going to say no, head on back there. That was a little too far up.
You know, you see it a lot. Guys try to get away with it as much as they can, or, you know, maybe take a few extra steps. Sometimes you see the guy's feet a little bit over the line on the throw. So it's all about, you know, how much can you get away with. And that time the referee said that was a little too much.
I haven't seen a ton of substitutes in this game. Both have gone to the bench just once. Springs ahead, Baker. Smiley comes out, but it'll be a corner upcoming for Hofstra. And Smiley slow to get up this time. He's going to need the trainer.
And yeah, again, I think it was Newsom back defending, if I'm not mistaken, again, doing some really hard work. The blue-collar stuff back here. Again, that right winger wants to be up the field. And look at the collision. I mean, Newsom basically going studs up right into his own keeper. And that is a very, very tough one for Smiley. I mean, he's already taken a hard save earlier, you know, in that midsection area. Now he takes the cleats of his own player there, again, with those high studs coming in from Newsom. And that's a very difficult one to shake off, I think. And obviously you hope he's okay, because he's been, you know, integral to what UNCW has done in keeping Hofstra off the board so far.
This kid has been an absolute warrior today, keeping the Seahawks scoreless.
And again, you see this time it's Goddard. He provides that little flick for Baker trying to round on the outside. And again, it's all or nothing defending for Newsom, right? I mean, he has to lay out. He has to get a foot on that, try to keep it away from Baker. And in the process, you know, the keeper's also coming from it from the other angle, and they just wind up making a hard collision. And so, again, I would not be shocked if you see one of the backups for UNCW just starting to get a little loose and warm, just in case. You never know if you're going to have to throw the gloves on. But, you know, I think always a difficult situation to, again, have watched so much of this game. It's a little bit of a cold night. You're kind of coming in cold. It would be very hard, a last resort option, certainly, to have to replace your keeper at this stage of the game.
Well, it seems like Hofstra's always in the CAA championship. So when's the last time they have not been in it? That was when JMU defeated UNCW. Number one song, Someone You Love. Do you like that song? Do you like it?
It's okay.
Okay. Ford vs. Ferrari. You ever seen that movie?
I did not.
Oh, it's a good movie. Gas price, $2.59.
I'll take it.
Look at that. That's, I mean, I paid like $2.79 the other day. That's not bad.
Yeah.
But that just shows you. I mean, listen, everything was a little different just a couple of years ago. That's the last time when Hofstra was not in a CAA championship.
And it really is. I mean, it's a long time ago, to be quite honest with you. And it just shows you how, to me, it's just so impressive because, but the way that they've just been a model of consistency and constantly getting back to this type of game, semifinals and finals, year in and year out, and another one here tonight. So just, again, incredibly impressive stretch that Coach Richard Nuttall has. And again, he was very complimentary of the guys on his own staff as well. As you said, Stephen Roach, Sean Foster, and as a unit, what they've been able to accomplish.
Baker with the corner, punched out by Smiley as he goes flying into the goal. Another corner kick for the Pride.
And again, right, why not put the keeper under pressure? He just took a boot in the gut, so why not put it right on top of him and make him have to defend it?
Here in the 67th minute. Angled out to midfield. One hop off the turf. Jamfi gets there first. Barnett second. Goddard. Long shot. And Aronson sends that way outside.
And we'll take another look at that first corner kick. And again, we mentioned the Olympico, which again, if you're not familiar, overtime 2 games ago. So it's certainly something that Smiley, I'm sure, was aware of. He saw the tape a couple of times tonight. He's had to punch it away and prevent the ball from going into the net off the corner. And that second one winds up leading to the chance there for Orson hitting it on the half volley, and again, just didn't get the contact right.
68th minute of play, scoreless game. Who will come away with the 2024 CAA championship and the automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament? Again, you of course would have to think, Tom, no matter what, Hofstra will end up being there next week, and we'll figure that out on Monday. But for right now, they're not concerned about it. They want to win their 8th title.
Yeah, and for some of these guys, I mean, all they've done so far in their careers is win the title here, so they want to add another one to the case.
To the near side, Newsom. Back out to midfield. Owen Farrell there, as D'Amico was pestering.
And again, we mentioned it before, but it really is kind of a thankless job as that lead striker in a game where you're just chasing the game the entire match. He's just doing hard running. He's not getting any service up there, and basically the whole part of his game is just to be a pest and try to bother those center backs as they're dealing with the ball.
Lots of contact against Jamfi as Pacheco goes into the young Jamfi, who's going to be slow to get up. And that's right in front of us on the press box. I mean, you can feel that one go right through him.
Yeah, and he's a tough kid. He's already up on his feet. He's ready to get back into it. And again, I mean, I think to me, some of their most dangerous chances so far in this contest have been with Jamfi on the ball and trying to get him into spaces in the attacking third, let him use his vision, his speed, his close control, try to run at guys, and this one's going to go against him on the handball.
Pacheco's like 55 pounds more than him, listed as. I mean, that hurts.
Yeah, no question. And again, I mean, it's not a freezing cold night, but again, on these colder nights and you have a guy running right through you, I think you're going to feel that for a couple seconds after you go down.
Barnett dancing through the midfield. Hall. Carlos sees some space, sent in looking for a cutting Goddard. And that's been their main target today, Tom. We haven't really seen them go after Woznicki. It's been more Goddard who has had the chances.
Yeah, and Woznicki, as we said a few times, has tried to be the supply chain. So get it up to him, and he tries that little flick on, get guys like Goddard and Baker involved around him. But yeah, we haven't seen Woznicki really get set up for his own chances as much this evening.
Infuso. Missed a pass right onto the boot of Newsom. 1-on-3, gets past Farrell. Gets past Pacheco, but there is a foul in the process.
Yeah, Pacheco just got that inside positioning on him and a little bit of that pullback just to try to, get around him. But, it was a nice idea, nice run by Newsom. Steps inside the first man. You can see there, though, that tug with the right arm on the backside right of Pacheco, pull him down. Referee was all over it. But, again, that's the type of areas that UNCW is looking to capitalize on. If they can get that turnover, in the middle third, try to turn that right away into something the other way.
Long ball nearly spilled, but still controlled by Smiley. Boy, this kid really has been phenomenal today. Everything he has done right.
Yeah, and they've been put under pressure, as we said, a lot. The center backs have done a good job, I feel like, clearing a lot of balls out for him. But anytime he's been tested, and he's had to be tested in tight a few times, he's made some really big saves. He's hung in there, even, taking a few shots in this one. And he's done well on the corners as well against that good service from Baker.
Here's Rock. Farrell to Pacheco. Slow little chip as he tries to flip the field. D'Amico turned over. Baker now. Teddy Baker from distance. Stopped again by Smiley and recovers the second.
Yeah, and the key there for Hofstra is there was nobody right on top of the doorstep waiting to kick that one home. You can see the work Farrell does really well to help win that ball high up the pitch. And it's Baker, keeps it low, just tries to sneak it inside that far post. And a great job by Smiley getting down to his left. Spilled it a little bit, but, then again, able to smother it after that, as a guy like Woznicki wasn't just kind of standing on top of him waiting for the spill.
Barnett, quick touch back. Carlos, and he sends it way too far. I mean, these are not typical of Hofstra, if you've seen them play, of having these kinds of misses across. What do you think it is so far?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Smiley has done well, a couple of good chances, and when they've put it on target, he's been equal to it. But yeah, just again, maybe it's, I don't know if it's the championship nerves or if they're feeling any pressure again getting later in the game here, but just a couple of miscues and some of those chances from far out they haven't really been able to connect on and send anything threatening towards the goal on some of those deeper chances.
74th minute of play, scoreless game. 4 saves by Smiley. All the stats right now in favor of Hofstra. Shots 9-3. Corners 8-1. But it doesn't matter. Still 2 zeros on the board.
Yeah, and in the second half, it's 6-0 for the shots for Hofstra and 4-0 for the corners.
Long shot from way out there. And Dodone makes an easy save on Miralio.
Yeah, and maybe that's one, again, you kind of hope you hit in there. It skips off the turf. Maybe it causes the keeper to spill one. A couple of guys crashing on top, looking for any loose change there, but Dodone does well not to give up anything on the rebound.
Tom, how tough is that for someone like Dodone who hasn't seen any action in such a long time?
Yeah, it certainly can be. I think, you know, as a goalie, sometimes the toughest saves can be the ones where you've been sitting around, haven't had anything to do for a while, as opposed to what Smiley's had to do, which is basically be constantly involved and, you know, on his toes for the entire match. Dodone on the flip side's kind of been sitting back, watching the team work at the other end, and then suddenly you have to be ready and activate in that, you know, split second when you're called in. So did a good job there. Like I said, sure-handed keeping there and made sure not to spill it out in front.
Farrell will take the toss on the far side. Again, he does have that ability to get it into the box. Let's see. Farrell. High in the air and stopped as it went off the noggin of Infuso.
Yeah, I think, you know, probably, again, just trying to flick that one back towards goal, hoping that maybe there's another Hofstra player that can dive in there with the head and claim that second ball, but a little bit too close to the keeper maybe, and Smiley equal to it.
Beautiful pass right to Jamfi from Smiley into midfield. Miralrio on the left wing. Jamfi now with a quarter of an hour remaining in regulation. As it trickles right through, Dodone sprints out, and the Pride will recover.
Yeah, and you said it, Dan. I mean, that was a superb ball right onto the feet of Jamfi, and immediately he could kind of turn and go, see what he had available. Tried to work in Miralrio down that left-hand side, but well defended in the end by Hofstra.
Ornson. Infuso to Pacheco as he curls one right up ahead into UNCW real estate. Chipped on with the head. Skied up. Jamfi there again. Another good touch as Jack Clarkson takes it away. Newsom. Third team selection a couple of years ago in 2022. Was second on the team last year in goals. Just 2 this year. Both against Stony Brook. Clarkson from the back end. That's Sauer who cut up and moved into the play. Nothing there. So technically sound are the Seahawks, especially on the defensive end, Tom, but offensively, what do they need to do to try and get something past Dodone at this point?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's about, can you turn Hofstra over a little bit higher up the field, make it a short field, see if you can go quickly on the counter. But I expect whatever they do, it's probably going to be on the counter just because of how dominant Hofstra has been in possession. So try to work quickly, get a guy like Jamfi in space.
Barnett with some space, and his little chip shot with the right boot is stopped again by Smiley, who lays down and looks up to the heavens.
Let's go, soccer!
And again, clock will stop here, and this one maybe could be a little bit more concerning for Smiley. You know, a non-contact, just kind of that one floated up, and perhaps it is the way he landed, but the way he's still laying down on the pitch, it almost appears like he knows that there's an issue, and it does appear like there is a goalie getting loose here on the far side for UNCW. So we'll obviously keep an eye on it. Training staff, of course, is going to do their best to try to keep him in the game, but it could be a big call to have to go with the substitution and, again, bring in a cold keeper here It's an incredibly difficult spot to enter into, especially with the way that Smiley has played.
Well, that is Bennett Jones, and again, he was Colts for PKs in the first round and still won. And just the way he landed, again, he's been taking an absolute beating here through 77 minutes. But he is the main reason why UNCW is still tied right now at 0-0.
And again, the training staff is trying to do some work and maybe a little bit of a tape job on one of the legs there, just seeing if they can get Smiley ready. But again, looks like there's a high probability that UNCW is going to have to go back to Bennett Jones. And as we said, I mean, Jones coming off the bench for penalties in that first round win over Monmouth. He made 3 saves in that shootout win, so had to come in cold on that night. But now again, after it looked like he stripped off his warm-up and was getting ready to come in, now the bib seems to be going back on. So we'll have to see if that means he's going to be heading back and they're going to see if Smiley can tough it out, or perhaps he just wants to get a little bit more warm, as again, they may have to go with him here.
Now, the last time that Smiley went down, we had this delay. He was warming up Bennett Jones on that far corner. Jones this season, 3 appearances, 49 minutes. The last 2 appearances against Monmouth. In 2023, the redshirt sophomore played and started 1 contest with a loss, 3 saves. So he only has 6 career saves, 4 goals against in his time. But the biggest tie of his career, with the advantage, of course, with soccer, if you get to PKs, it is a tie. It is not a win. So he gets the tie, the biggest tie of his decision career, and it came just 2 games ago. But right now, he'll still stay on the sideline, get warm, and Smiley remains in.
And I really appreciated the candor from Aiden Haney about that as well. Where he basically told us, listen, if it didn't work out and we would have lost on penalties, everybody would have said I was crazy. He goes, so thankfully it worked out. And that way, you know, he could just tell the story of how he made that big gutsy call to go with Jones, and it wound up paying off for them in the PKs.
Handball in midfield. A very obvious one against Hornaday. It started now the last 9 games for the Seahawks. As you can say, one of the veteran players on the team is a sophomore. And 6 of the starting 11 are underclassmen. All 3 that came off the bench in the semifinals were freshmen. We have not seen Ryan Lee today, which is a little shocking, Tom, because that is someone that Coach Heaney said could win you a game, and he has only gone to the bench once so far.
Yeah, he's mostly stuck with his guys, and, you know, he talked to us about it, 15 new faces coming in, and he said basically, you know, they're pretty much all freshmen. We don't really have, it's not a lot of grad student transfers or something like that, so mostly it was freshmen leaning on that youth, and tough strength of schedule early on really tested them, and he thought that that was kind of paying off at this late stage of the season with the way they've been playing.
Turned up the field after good defensive plays, but right back on the offensive end for Hofstra. Goddard looking for Woznicki. Carlos, hard touch. Farrell there. He surveys. Owen Farrell. It's a second chance now off the head with some contact coming from behind, but Newsom and the Seahawks will try and run. Hall, and a quick touch as they flip the field to Hall again from Owen Farrell.
A lot of space for Hall here.
Hall crosses and does not reach the head he intended. I believe was Woznicki.
Yeah, and everybody for Hofstra, it seemed like, was flooding that middle of the box, so didn't have anybody just kind of staying behind or looking for that back post run. And, you know, you just see that right now, right? The way Smiley is moving, clearly not a guy who is moving at 100% right now, but just the fact that he has been a warrior in there and played so well, I think, is why they want to stick with him and give him the chance to do, you know, a very difficult job, which is trying to shut down Hofstra here.
We are in the 80th minute of play. Is there a hero out there in regulation? Advantage Seahawks, as they'll be able to move some numbers up the field. Hafile, good genes in his family in soccer. His brother Michael played 15 games at center back from Nottingham Forest, now an assistant coach in the Saudi League. Third team selection this year at the center back position. Orenson, boot to boot, Infuso. Pacheco with the left. Crosses to the top of the box, nearly an own goal, it is! It goes off, Hafile and in! Hofstra takes the lead in the championship game in the 81st minute. And it's Pearson Fuso from the back end who causes havoc.
Yeah, this is just one of those times where, you know, soccer feels like a cruel game. UNCW have defended so well all throughout the night. The two center backs have been outstanding, and, you know, either a case of maybe he didn't get the contact right on the header, or he thought Smiley was going to be back there for him to kind of cushion the header back to him, but instead Smiley was coming off of his line for it just as he was going back for it, and it winds up going off of Hafile's head and into the back of a gaping net. So good ball in by Infuso. He put that back line under pressure, and again just winds up going down as a lucky break for Hofstra.
Well, Pearson Fuso does not get credit for the goal, but again, the guy who is so steady in the back end never comes out of the lineup. Last year's most outstanding player in the CAA championship. He ends up sending a ball very methodical in the back end and put it in the perfect spot. And an all-conference defender with an own goal. Now the Seahawks have to get their foot forward. They only have 9 minutes to do so to force overtime.
And that's exactly right. And of course, you know, as the Seahawks now try to push more guys forward, that's going to leave them more vulnerable at the back, open things more up for Hofstra, and certainly give them a chance to try to double this lead. So it's, you know, you still have to be a little bit cautious for UNCW. You can't just throw everything forward and leave yourself completely exposed. But no question, they can't sit back in the way that they've defended for, you know, most of these first 80-plus minutes here. They're going to have to try to get on the ball more, get some more bodies forward, and see if they can get something to trouble Dodone.
So I'm also curious too, Tom, from your opinion, you're looking at Hofstra in this, right? You have control, you've been getting in this end. Do you go with a more defensive lineup for the last 9 minutes?
Well, I think, you know, again, with the way that they've played possession-wise, you can just try to keep possession like you have been, turn it into maybe more keep-away style of possession. And again, for them, it's just going to be, don't do anything silly, don't turn it over high up the field, don't give a chance to come back the other way. And of course, the change immediately for UNCW is bringing on a guy in Ryan Lee, who you see a lot in one of that front three midfield positions, but he's got a goal and 2 assists this year. And he was one of the guys that Coach Heaney told us could come off the bench and do a nice job for them.
This goes back to Hofstra. Hull has it. And they're going to take their time on every single throw-in, every single free kick, just to bleed the clock down. They're less than 8 minutes away from another title. Do the Seahawks have enough to push this ahead? Sauer booted down to midfield. Hall is there.
And again, now you're going to see Hofstra work it across the back line, try to draw UNCW out, leave them a little bit more vulnerable in behind, and just, again, a little bit of keep away at times, but you don't take any chances. They're just going to blast this one forward so they don't get caught in possession.
Miralrio through midfield. Baker on him. Marks him up right at the conference logo. They'll flip the field to the back end. Shannon moving up in the play, something we haven't seen all day long. Crossing into the penalty area, Jamfi. Jamfi keeps it low. Booted aside. Hall back out to midfield on the clearance.
And immediately right then you can see how a goal can just flip the script. Now UNCW getting their numbers forward, trying to put Hofstra on their heels. A complete reversal of what we had seen really for most of the first 80 or so minutes. So, again, it has to come now. There's no tomorrow. There's no, extra time unless they can find a way to put one in the back of the net. So certainly it is now or never, and the time again for UNCW to try to get their bodies forward, see if they can find something in the back of the net. And again, a very attack-minded change right off the bat, taking off one of their holding midfielders and bringing on a more attack-minded guy in Ryan Lee right away as soon as they conceded, to see if they can get some more out of the attacking group.
And this is also where Mike DeFelice needs to be very wary of when he stops the clock. Because, of course, Hofstra is going to try and delay this game as much as they possibly can. Here they got a number if they want it, and it is Teddy Baker. Baker now, top of the 18. Pacheco. He sends one ahead for Baker. Runs and catches up to it. Flagged down now by Pacheco into the near corner. Falls, and it's a foul against UNCW. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, never a bad idea to take it to the corner flag, right? That's what you're taught. That's a great place to kill some time, and we'll get another look at it here. But basically, Pacheco just tries to get his body in between the ball and the defender. And I think, the defender kind of has to get his leg in between him and draws the foul.
Baker punched out by Smiley. Farrell angles to the far side. Goddard can't get there in time, but it stays with the Pride. 85th minute of play. Get an own goal in the 81st minute. That's the difference maker of this contest right now. Hofstra is 5.5 minutes away from their 4th consecutive championship and a guaranteed trip to the NCAA tournament. Farrell's going to bleed the clock now in the far corner. Jamfie's there as he gets double teamed. Slides the ball up ahead. Obvious foul against Milo Hall. And the Seahawks will begin from their own end. They'll flip the field. Hefele. Into the air, off the head first by Orenson. Jamfie everywhere, but Goddard comes away with the ball. Laurie Goddard. Taken down, advantage Pride, and more time can come off the clock.
Yeah, and you see him dropping a little bit deeper than we usually see him, trying to, be a factor back there, get possession back for the Pride, hang on to it, draws the foul, does really well there. And, again, that's what we're going to see. If Hofstra can draw the foul, again, takes a few seconds off the clock, set up the kick, time continues to run, and now they send this one long.
Yeah, that was nearly 25 seconds that was killed off. A chance to add one more. Teddy Baker now. Baker with the right, denied into the teeth of the D. Carlos knocked down. Great spot for Hofstra for some insurance.
And again, that really is one of the best attributes for Carlos. So good at reading the game, seems to get himself popping up where the ball is going to be, and does a great job to get there first, draws the contact as well. And now this shapes up to be a very, very dangerous free kick position for Baker. I mean, you could see, he was clearly there first, clearly caught in the back by Newsom. No question that was going to be a foul. And again, now you give one of the most dangerous free kick takers in the country a
cheer to win the championship. Teddy Baker with the cross, it's blocked, popped into the air, and the second punch up by Smiley goes over the net.
And you could see the wall was, on that left side, or to Baker's left, we should say. So he actually tried to go back towards the goalie to that right side. Very tough to get it over the wall and back down from that close. So he tried to go the goalie's way, and give Smiley a lot of credit. He dove initially on the block, and that ball popped straight up in the air. Probably was going to wind up going back in. Had to rise to his feet and punch that one over for a corner.
Alexi Armas will check in, the native from Floral Park, as will Jack O'Malley. who, as Richard Nuttles said, and this is somebody who also does have experience and member of this team for a number of years winning titles, of really keeping them organized in the back end late in games. Did start some contests this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 2 defensive-minded subs for Coach Nuttall. Armas has a bit of that bite in midfield, and O'Malley, a very vocal leader, a presence, a big presence in the back, and right now it's looking like a back 4 here for Hofstra, so throwing on an extra defender back there.
Ball sent down to Goddard. Chips it ahead to a pinching Pacheco. In the 88th minute of play. Last touched off of the Pride, Seahawks with the throw in here in their own end. Does UNCW have enough for another comeback? They have had comebacks all year long. But it is Woznicki who will kill more of the clock into this near corner. A deep throw-in. The Seahawks have come back to draw against Furman, a multi-goal comeback against Eastern Tennessee State. The comeback to force overtime against Monmouth in the first round, and here they have just 2 minutes to look for an equalizer. Goddard taken down just on the edge of the box. Oh my goodness. I mean, you could not get any closer. A red card.
Yeah, boy, that was mighty close to the box. I mean, on that replay, it certainly looked like he may have been inside the penalty area by the time that foul occurred, but as you see the UNCW players pleading their case, and Hofstra are going to wind up with this free kick again right on the edge of the area. But how about this from Woznicki? Never gives up on it. And you know what? I mean, he had that 1 foot still outside the box, I guess, as the main contact occurred. So perhaps that was enough to keep it outside the area, but a red card nonetheless, and the difficult night continuing for him.
And right in front of the Hofstra faithful, Ifile, who has had himself here a tough couple of minutes for a really, really phenomenal defender. An excellent player for this group that has led them to this championship game. The own goal in the 81st minute, and now a red card here in the 89th. But that also, again, could have possibly stopped another goal. But now they'll have to play with 10 for the last minute and 54 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was kind of the referee's logic, right? Denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. That's, you know, the grounds for a red card. So he felt like that was the case in that situation. And so Hofstra now with a chance here. And again, it'll be interesting to see if they, I mean, the way they're set up, it looks like they're not even going to go for goal here. They're just going to keep it short and again try to run some clock here.
Bounced into the area. Woznicki, pressure from behind. The Seahawks come away with it. Down a man with only a minute and 40 seconds remaining, needing an equalizer. Goddard to Carlos. And a foul against Rock Carlos. 90 seconds to go. Off the head of O'Malley and steered to the far touchline. Jamfi with a long toss coming as we approach the 90th minute of play. First off the head of Carlos. Now again off of Carlos. Jamfi there. Flicks it on. Headed out. The shot by Clarkson. No. Skied into the air. With all 10 players up ahead. And Smiley is in the box as the extra attacker. 40 seconds to go. Milrario, the cross. And too far, wide right.
And that's going to kill off another, you figure, at least 10, 15 seconds here. Referee is trying to stay on it, but Looks like Hofstra is just about going to seal this one up.
With 20 seconds, the fans are all on their feet at Captain's Field. They'll stop the clock with 3.9 as the official did not want to let that one just close out, to the displeasure of the faithful who have come out here on this Saturday evening. Well, it was a different type of game, a different type of goal. And still a long conversation before we start, with just 13.9 on the clock now. Back out to midfield with 10 seconds. Well, different type of goal, but deja vu all over again. Hofstra wins their 4th consecutive CAA crown. The program's 8th championship. And they guarantee themselves a spot in the NCAA tournament next week. An own goal in the 81st minute. Of course, don't forget about the 7 phenomenal saves by Trace Smiley of UNCW. But the Pride are victorious again here at home and earn themselves another title. As Baker and others jump into the stands to celebrate with the fans on another miraculous season that will continue. Well, the play of the game, and again, it wasn't the prettiest goal you'll ever see for Hofstra, but still, that's a smart play. Presented by Jersey Mike's sub above play of the game, and it's an own goal that Pearson Fuso sends exactly from midfield, goes off the head of Joseph Hefele and into the back twine. And that's what ends up earning them their 8th CAA championship. When we come back, Tom will have a chance to chat with the championship winning coach, Richard Nuttall. Back in just a couple of moments. Don't go anywhere. Trophy presentation upcoming too, only on FloFC.
Oh, there's 7 of you, dude. All right. You got her. Let's go. Let's go. This will be 11. 4, 11. 11.
Feel good, play good, it goes all the way.
This is the CAA on Flow Sports.
Back here from Long Island, Hofstra has just won their 8th CAA championship. Richard Nuttall, his 350th win, comes in a title, and he's speaking with Tom Verdi.
Here with Coach Nuttall, and Coach, you guys just became the first CAA program to win 4 straight titles. What does it mean to you?
Incredibly proud. It takes a lot of work to win one championship. We've been 4 in a row. So from my point of view, I'm incredibly thankful. And you know, my coaches are fantastic. The players we pick are wonderful. And to be honest, I thought we thoroughly deserved it tonight. You know, they sat in, they had their tactics, and I thought we went for it, and we eventually got the reward. Home goal. I bet you got to win somehow, don't you? So
yeah, no question. I mean, you guys certainly had the possession advantage.
Yeah.
Was there any
rebound if you were pushing too much? So we kept our numbers right, and I thought we had the chances. We thoroughly deserved it. Their keeper's had a great game, by the way. Yeah. He's had a great game, so good for him.
And for, you know, some of your guys, obviously 4 straight titles for them. Some of your guys have been here making their 5th straight appearance tonight. Pierce and Rock had been here for 5 in a row. Yeah. I mean, what does it mean to just see the way that those guys have pushed along this program, along with your staff, and to just become this kind of perennial CAA power the last few years?
Well, the ones you mentioned, they're incredible people first and foremost, and they do work hard both on and off the field. In the classroom, they're tremendous. They're selfless in many ways, and to be honest, you know, I'm proud of them off the field as much as I am on the field. You know, I enjoy working with this group.
And so for you, Coach, now obviously you can turn your sights finally to the NCAA tournament, maybe a chance to have another home game here in front of these great fans. So what would it mean to you guys to have another chance to host some NCAA action here at Hofstra?
Yeah, I thought the fans were magnificent tonight, really engaged in what we're doing, and I'm glad we could provide them with a win. But I believe we are in the NCAA, so hopefully we'll get a home game, and let's see what happens.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for the time. Again, congratulations on another CAA title. Go enjoy the celebrations.
All right, thank you very much.
Dan, back up to you.
Richard Nuttall, 35th year head coach, and just adds another championship to his lengthy resume of building this successful program of Hofstra University. Pride win number 8, 4 consecutive championships. As he, of course, says, so many friends in attendance. I mean, you coach at a place for 35 years, you're going to make a lot of friends over that time. And he has to see everybody, friends and family alike, as he gets another championship here in 2024. And this season a little bit different. Again, RPI was very high, getting some big wins, maybe not exactly what they were hoping of being one of those top seeds. They still find themselves here in the championship, and they still find themselves as a host of the championship. And now they find themselves winning another championship. What just a remarkable run, especially over the last half-decade, that Hofstra soccer has been able to have. Appearing in 5 straight, winning the last 4. They become the first team in the CAA history to win 4 consecutive CAA titles. That alone is just very impressive. You take a look at these final stats. Again, a lot of them, especially in the second half too, were all advantage for the Pride in terms of shots on goal. The saves number, that was so big for UNCW, 7 of them for Trey Smiley. The corner kicks 8-1, that's another big number that stands out. So again, of course, with soccer, you can't always look at those stats right away and really have a feeling of what it is, but the game was mostly played on the UNCW end of the field. And that's one of the reasons why they were able to even get that own goal. While not the most miraculous you'll see of the 40 they scored prior to today, it still was quite impressive as they come away with CAA championship number 8. Next up, NCAA tournament. Will it be Thursday? Will it be Sunday? Well, we'll find out Monday night where the seeding will be for Hofstra men's soccer as they automatically qualify for the NCAA tournament this upcoming week. So the Pride, our champions once again, Another fun year here in CAA soccer, but it's not completely over yet. There's still plenty of teams that have a chance for an at-large bid. In the CAA, of course, the jam-packed CAA. But we'll see what ends up coming this upcoming Monday night. Hofstra wins 1-0 the final score here at Captain's Field. They win their 8th CAA championship and 4th consecutive title. For everyone here, my broadcast partner, Tom Birdie, I'm Dan Savarino, saying thanks so much for watching the 2024 CAA Men's Soccer Championship. We'll catch you next season.